Hi, good morning, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Okay, I hope all of you are very safe and healthy. And in continuation to my video series, AWS Lambda, major introduction to major AWS services. Okay, today we will discuss about AWS Lambda. Okay, so AWS Lambda is a very important and very crucial feature of AWS services, and it comes under the serverless architecture, serverless category of AWS services. Okay. So let us understand the definition first. AWS Lambda is a cloud computing service from Amazon Web Services that allows developers to run code without managing compute resources. This point is very important. It's an example of serverless architecture and a popular cloud computing concept called function as a service. Okay. So what is a special feature of AWS Lambda? Okay, I'll give you an example. Like if you are planning to, if you have developed any background utility, okay, a background service you have developed in .NET Core, or any background service you have developed in Python. Okay, in order to run your code, you would need a server. Okay, you would need a Windows server or Ubuntu server. You would require accordingly as per your script. Okay, and you will configure a virtual machine in AWS. You will configure EC2 instance. If you want to go with Microsoft Azure, you will create a virtual machine there. Okay, and on the virtual machine, you will install all your required dependency for your script or for your utility to run. And after that, you will publish your code. You will install your software utility there, and then you will be able to run your code. Okay, but with AWS Lambda, what is the important feature? Like it is serverless. Okay, it doesn't ask you to configure any EC2 instance or any virtual machine in order to run your code. Okay, what it does, like AWS provides the Lambda Web Console. It is a platform as a service. It gives you a management console of AWS Lambda, wherein you just have to publish your code. You have to give your code, your script to AWS Lambda, and AWS Lambda will run your code on its own environment. Okay, and whatever resource, whatever infrastructure is required for your script, for your utility to run, okay, AWS automatically provisions the required infrastructure in the background. Okay, and when there is no requirement, when there is no need, it will automatically deprovision the resources itself. Okay, so let's say you have developed a service that is about to run every 1 hour in 24 hour or in a day. Okay, so there are 24 executions. There will be 24 executions in a day, and every execution, the script is being completed in 5 seconds. Okay, so throughout the day, if you total the entire execution time, there will be hardly a minute of the execution. Okay, so what is the benefit of AWS Lambda? Okay, it will provision the required infrastructure, whatever memory, storage, or the resource CPU is required. It will provision the resource. Okay, only for only for the period your script or utility is running. Okay, once your execution is completed, it automatically releases those resources. Okay, so that there will no unnecessary cost will occur on you. Okay, but unlike if we go with particular proper virtual machine or the EC2 instance, what will happen? Even if my code is running for a few seconds or few minutes only, but we will have to pay for entire machine for the entire period, the whole day. Okay, and that will occur as a big cost to us. Okay, so the benefit is, in case we have a such requirement, like wherein there is a small utility and a small execution we require. Okay, that kind of a script we need. In that case, AWS Lambda is very preferable service. In other cloud, like if you are going with Microsoft Azure, there is Azure Functions also, like similar nature of service, that is also serverless. In AWS Lambda, that is a serverless category. Okay, and AWS Lambda provides you the flexibility to write the code in the following language. That .NET Core, you can, if you are .NET developer, you can prefer in .NET, writing the script in the .NET Core, Java, Node.js, Python, Ruby, and there's some custom runtime also like Golang, Rust and C++ with Amazon Linux operating system. Okay, so these are custom runtime and these are the standard language support: .NET, Java, Node.js, Python, and Ruby. Okay, so let us understand the some important use cases of AWS Lambda, like developing serverless dynamic scalable website with conjunction with other serverless services of AWS. Okay, let us say we have to develop a website. Okay, so if you are going to develop a website, even a dynamic website, we need a front end, the HTML, CSS, JavaScript part. Okay, then if we are let's say there's a website wherein you want to collect the registration from people. Okay, so you will take the input and you will register, store those records into the database itself. So you will need a database also. Okay, and in order to process the input, you will need the API also. Okay, so we can develop the entire website, a complete website. Okay, with AWS and with conjunction of other AWS services like serverless database, we can go for DynamoDB. Okay, for API management, we can go for API gateway service. Okay, and for input processing and generating and storing the data, processing the data, we can at that place we can use AWS Lambda. So with AWS Lambda and other serverless services of AWS, we can develop entire website, even it is a static or dynamic website, and that is too scalable. Okay, because AWS Lambda is scalable. If the load exceeds or the traffic grows on your website or the application, AWS Lambda automatically scales the environmental infrastructure also, like the CPU, memory, whatever it requires. Okay, it will automatically scales, and when the load reduces, it will automatically de-scales the provisions and de-scales the resources also. Okay, so completely scalable. Okay, and without provisioning any infrastructure, and very quickly we can develop the website. So that was the one use case. Developing period and schedule background services of schedule, like as we discussed earlier also, like in enterprise application architecture, there will be multiple needs, like you have to do some activity on some periodic scheduled, like let's say you are running an enterprise application or the shopping business, and there's a requirement that every day at 12 night you have to send aggregated and summarized sales report to your stakeholders. Okay, that is to collecting the analytics and insights of the entire data of the sales that happens throughout the day. So for this kind of scheduled job, okay, that will generate the data, the required report, various kind of analytics report, and that will trigger the email to your stakeholders. Okay, so this kind of scheduled job you can develop with AWS Lambda itself. Okay, another use case, like you in production you have configured the EC2 instances of virtual machines. That is to few machines for the production and few production environment, and few machines for the developers to for their work. Okay, but the stakeholder told you, like the machines which you have configured for the development and the testing purpose, that should be automatically shut down at 7 p.m. in the evening, and it should start every day at 10 a.m. in the morning. Okay, and for Saturdays and Sunday, it should be always shut down. It should not be open. Okay, so this kind of scheduling, you can write the Lambda function in order to automate the start-stop of the virtual machines and the EC2 instances with the help of AWS Lambda and other EC2 instance client and the SDKs. Okay, so for that, this kind of automated jobs and the scheduled cron jobs, we can use AWS Lambda. Okay, developing serverless API project with conjunction of AWS API gateway and other AWS services. If you have to develop a complete API project, okay, that API can be used in multiple third-party applications. So entire API project also you can develop, and here also you don't need to provision any server. You don't need to create any EC2 instance on the virtual machine. Okay. So there are so many use cases are there like this, wherein we can, wherein AWS Lambda can play a very significant role. Okay. So this is the, let us understand this image. AWS Lambda along with other AWS services can be used to build a powerful website that we discussed. Like a website can also be created. For storing the static HTML, CSS, and JavaScript file, we can use Amazon S3. That is the storage service. Okay. For user authentication and login, we can use Amazon Cognito Pool, user pool. This is a service wherein we can manage the user registration, user data. And developing the API project, managing the APIs, there is another service, API Gateway. Okay, we will study about the API Gateway also in detail in a separate session. And here AWS Lambda comes in picture, which will take the input from the user through API Gateway. It will take the input and it will process the data. And then after the process records can be stored into the Amazon DB. Okay. So here you can see, like with the help of AWS Lambda and other AWS services like S3, Amazon Cognito Pool, Amazon API Gateway, and Amazon DynamoDB. So database, processing unit, API Gateway, and storage unit, authentication authorization service. Using all this, we can create a complete website. Okay, a powerful website with, and here you can see, we are not configuring any virtual machine, any EC2 instances, and nowhere we are creating. Okay, it's completely serverless and scalable because all the services, S3, DynamoDB, Lambda, API Gateway, all are scalable. Okay, the infrastructures are automatically being scaled and de-scaled as per the traffic and the load of the application. So this was one of the use case. Okay, and secondly, an example of developing e-commerce website, like the front end, an API gateway plays in between different kind of microservices we can develop, like product service, payment service, inventory service, cart service. Okay, and those services can also connect the serverless database also. Even the relational database, like if we have configured the RDS for Microsoft SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL. Okay, so those database instances also we can connect with Lambda. Okay, so here also developing any complete e-commerce websites also Lambda plays a very significant role. Okay, and another use case like multi-location media transformation. Okay, let's say let us understand, like we are planning to develop any app like Instagram where user registers and uploads the images. Okay, and images then should be processed with multiple resolutions, and for the multiple devices, the images should be processed, and all those images should be stored in the multiple locations, and also should be cached with Amazon CloudFront for the in order to meet the low latency as per the user wise. Okay, so here also Lambda can play a very important role that can take the image from the user. It can process with the help of other AWS services, process the image and can create multiple copies of the images with the multiple resolutions. Okay, and properties, and it can store the images on different S3 locations, S3 buckets. Okay, and then after the buckets can be customized, can be integrated with Amazon CloudFront in order to cache those images, so that user may face very low latency in order to read those images itself. Okay, so Amazon CloudFront is the content delivery service and the caching service. Okay, and it is this service is available across the different region and different location wise itself, where it caches the image zone wise, region wise. Okay, and near about the users in the same zone don't need to fetch the, if the user requests the image from those particular location, it doesn't go to the original location of S3 in order to fetch the location, fetch the image. Instead, it will serve the images from its own cache itself. Okay, So this was also a use case of AWS Lambda, where for the purpose of multi-location media transformation. Okay, so that was a use case of AWS Lambda. Next is the API gateway service. In the coming next video, we will discuss about the API gateway. That is also one of the very important service. Okay, that comes that plays in front of AWS Lambda for the API management and the front-facing API. We can develop the complete API project, okay, with the help of API gateway itself. Okay. So that was all about AWS Lambda itself. Okay, so it is a serverless service of AWS and plays a very important, very significant role. I have created already a complete playlist of AWS Lambda. I will add the link to the playlist in the description of this video. You can go through that entire playlist itself, okay, and you can understand the AWS Lambda in very detail, very depth. Okay, in that video, I have explained entire setup, your ID setup, and developing the Lambda function, and I have also explained the integration with other AWS services also, okay, with the example. So that playlist also you can refer. Okay. Thank you very much for now. Okay. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay connected. Okay, and please like and subscribe this video. If you like this video, please subscribe the channel so that you will be automatically notified for on any new videos is uploaded from our site on this channel. Okay. You will be informed automatically. Okay. Thank you very much for now. Thank you.